I want to talk about this new thing you've been discussing about headphones and thyroid issues. Years ago, we used to wear headphones on this show. We don't anymore. I used to wear the Bluetooth things. Don't anymore. I only wear wired headphones in now. I use like the thing where you plug in the phone and
Thank God you got him
but
off that, because you know what I do? I told him all this information like 2 years ago, and he didn't listen, so I kept sending him your content,
well, my thing
and
is
then he
like
switched.
my big thing with all of this stuff, like as I'm not, I don't want to say I'm skeptic. I've been enlightened over the years, but I always say
You're
like,
open.
and I'm open.
You're open.
But my whole thing is like, if there's a product that works just as well and there is potentially no downside, then why not do that? So for me, it's like I have these wired headphones. They're just Amazon products, nothing fancy, and they work just as well. So
The convenience of wired headphones is undeniable, or wireless headphones is undeniable, but this is again the thing that was outside the Overton window and now is kind of becoming in the Overton window. I saw other content about people moving away from the wireless headphones, but for the longest time when I talked about AirPods or the super AirPods, the headphones, people would really push back. And still some people do, but a recent analysis came out. Again, this is just epidemiology, but there is a strong association, or at least a significant association, between these Bluetooth headphone use. So we're talking AirPods, Beats, whatever, wireless.
anything with Bluetooth connection.
Yeah, wireless headphones and increased incidence of thyroid nodules. So this is really important for both men and women. The thyroid is kind of your master gland, or one of these master thermoregulatory glands in your body, and thyroid nodules can be precancerous. And so this is interesting, and I think it deserves more research. We don't have the full story here, but it makes sense, right? You have proximity, you have a very sensitive, hormonally active gland in your neck, and inches away from that, you are using a RF-EMF, so radio frequency EMF emitting device. And I could measure this. I've done multiple pieces of content where you can put an RF meter. It's the kind of thing that looks really geeky, but you can get these meters and you can see how much radio frequency EMF is coming off of these earbuds. And it's essentially like a small microwave in your head for how many hours a day? Like 3, 4, 2, 6. I see people walking around with them in the airports just all the time. But you can take basically, so the measurement of these AirPods or these headphones is in microwatts per meter squared. You can measure the exact same thing out of your microwave. The RF band of a microwave is essentially the same as your cell phone, the same as these Bluetooth bands. So it's a small microwave in your head. And you can take this device and put it next to your microwave and you'll get a huge reading. And it's not as much as a microwave, but it's in the same ballpark.
I mean, I won't put the cell phone to my ear.
You shouldn't.
So I just don't know why I would put these little buds in my ear all day long. It feels like innately, I feel like spidery about it.
No, I've gone back to like Apple 1.0 where you have the thing plugged in and you have the wired headphones and you're talking in conversation that way. And to be honest, I like it. It feels nostalgic to me.
I think it's definitely more prudent, and I think it's probably safer long term.
I think the reason though that you get pushback is there's a projection of people who have been doing it for so long that are maybe scared, or two, it's a fashion statement to wear, green headphones from Apple. Like I get it. Like when those came out, I ran and got the olive ones, and they were so cute and adorable. And so you want to have this fashion statement, but it's almost like they distract you from what it actually is.
Here's the thing. I'm not like a tin hat guy. You two definitely are the tin hat people in this.
I'm owning it.
I'm fine with the tin hat.
I'm owning it.
But I will say,
does it have EMF in it?
I'm just kidding. I mean,
It's blocks tin.
I've got half a tin hat on. But I will just say, we've been living through the last few years where people that are called crazy about sounding the alarm on some of these things get vindicated later. And so my whole thought process is I just don't want to be the first line of testing, right? I don't want to be the first guy that tries that. People do what they want, but my thing is if there's even a slight chance and there's an alternative that works just as well, but maybe it's not quite as convenient, I'm just gonna do that.
My daughter's so cute. She came home. She goes, "Mom, I need to confess something." She's 5. I was like, "What?" She's like, "Today I wore headphones, but only for 5 minutes."
She's terrified.
Well,
I know where they wired, and she's like, "They're wired." I'm like, "You're okay."
You asked her if they're wired. We've talked to her about it.
No, but I mean, listen, I think we just had Jonathan Haidt on the podcast. And I just keep saying this because his big thing is like kids, screen time, social media. Like he wants them off it.
Scary.
And, it's something that we have to just be, I think the first generation of parents that had children start to use a lot of these new technologies. They didn't know, there was no awareness. They had nobody ahead of them that was able to teach them. And like that's a tough position to be in. And we had a woman on right before you saying, I wish less with that. Like she was just saying like, if she looked back and changed anything, very successful. And I think like it's the responsibility as you learn more as a parent to like, guard your kids against things that they don't know themselves, and just, and why, my whole thing is, you remember that old scene in Casino back in the day, like the Martin Scorsese, Robert, and they're going around at the end of the movie and they're talking about who to whack. This is like a weird reference.
Okay.
And they're going around the table. Carl's like, what? They're going around the table and they're like, oh, what about, I forget the guy's name. They're like, what about like Big Paul? And they're like, no, not Big Paul. He's a good guy. And they're just like, yeah, he's a good guy. He's like, oh, he's one of us. And gets to the last guy. He's like, yeah, he's a good guy, but why take a chance? Like, that's how I think about all this stuff. I'm like, why take a chance if there's a better alternative?